So welcome to my last tube video of my watercolor collection. With the end of this video we have seen all of my tubes, and we will then switch to all the palettes, the ones with half pans, full pans, the self-made ones, or Gansai Tambi styled watercolors. So let's start with this here, the Pure Pigment set from Mijello Mission Gold. I know there are different versions of the Pure Pigment set, depending on, I think, where you live and when you did buy the sets. There are a few tubes that are different in them. I have bought this one on AliExpress a few years back when it was on sale, but I think that it definitely is a good set. Honestly, I haven't worked with it so far and I haven't touched the colors, but I do have a lot of Mijello Mission Gold colors from the big set with the small tubes. You have seen a lot of the small tubes in my other videos of my tube collection, and a lot of them are already completely used up or nearly used up completely. So I have used Mijello Mission Gold over the years a lot, so I do definitely know that the quality of the paint is really good, and depending on where you live, the price is also a very good price. Here in Germany, the tubes starts, I think the 15 milliliter tube starts with around €4 or something like that. So that's a really, really cheap price, and therefore it is a brand that is very affordable for artist grade, and also one where you can buy more expensive pigments like cobalts for a cheaper price than with some of the other brands. So the Pure Pigment set is made of 24 colors in 15 milliliter tubes and 2 additional colors in 7 milliliter tubes. They are all single pigment colors. That is the reason why I bought this one. It is, in my opinion, an absolute awesome way to get a good single pigment collection, because in most sets normally we do have mixed colors in it. We have a mix between single pigment and mixed colors. Here we have only single pigment colors, which is an awesome set for a gift, for example, for someone, I think. And of course a perfect mixing set, because it's always best to mix with single pigment colors. So I know the quality of Mijello Mission Gold paints. They are very good. I do like them. I have, like I said, used them a lot over the years. And what is important to know for the vegans, they are using honey, so their colors are not vegan. Because of the honey, the colors not sometimes is depending on the pigment, because pigments make a difference in that case, how hard a color will get if you put it in a palette and let it dry. Some of them stay very sticky, so don't press your finger into it, or else you will have a lot of color on your finger. Yes, it happened to me, because I thought it would be solid, but it wasn't. It is not completely fluid or so, like for example an M-gram color, but it not gets rock solid like other colors do. So what do we have? The two small tubes are a white and a black, so I'm not that sad that those are the small tubes. The Chinese white PW6 is even more or even less useful to me, because it's a transparent white. I'm not a big user of white watercolor. The transparent whites, like a Chinese white, are meant for mixing, that you can make pastels. That is something I normally don't do. So That's not something very useful for me. If it would have been like a zinc white, which is a very opaque white, you can use it for highlights, for example. That would have been much more useful for me, but I know there are a lot of people enjoying their pastels and mixing with white. I'm not someone who says I never would use them. I do have a lot of pastel colors in different sets, or I even have some pastel sets bought over the years, so that's not the point, but over the years your tastes change, or better said, you are solidifying, oh gosh, your personal taste. So I can now say I can use colors like that, pastels, but I do not enjoy them very much. So I try to nowadays not buy any, or if I can avoid it at least. So the black is called ivory black, but, and here's the big difference, normally ivory black is made of burnt animal bones, that's PBK 9. We do have a PBK 7 in here, not a PBK 9, so that is very, very different. And if they wouldn't use honey, I would say that's a good substitute for vegans, but like I said, all the colors are made with honey, so they're definitely not vegan friendly. Like I said, PBK 7, which is a big plus for me because I hate PBK 9. I have learned to use it as a mixing pigment over the years, but on its own I can't stand it because I don't like warm blacks. I like my blacks to be cool or at least neutral. So that's a big plus for me, PBK 7. So I've already gone through all the pigments in the German version, so I do know that we have where is it? Here, the lemon yellow contains PY3, so that's a non-light fast pigment. That's important to know. And we do have another, I think, was it? No, the red orange, which is a PO73, which is also a not light fast pigment. So that's also to keep in mind. And we have the dioxazine violet, which is a PV23, which is also not a light fast pigment. So we are now at 3 non-light fast pigments. And I think it was one of the greens. No, was it? It wasn't. Yeah, I think those are the 3. So 3 colors out of 26 are not light fast. I think that's a good ratio. So nearly all of the colors are light fast. That's, I think, super important. We have permanent yellow light, that's a PY 154. We have permanent yellow deep, which is a PY 65. Autumn orange, which is a PO 36. If I'm not completely mistaken, that's a benzimidazolone pigment. Then we have permanent red deep, which is a PR 254. Rose madder, which is a PR 176. That's, I think, perylene maroon, or isn't it? I know I always, oh gosh, I always mix that up. PR 176 or PR 179 is the perylene maroon. I always stumble with that one. Sorry. Quinacridone, permanent rose, PV19, your standard. Then we also have a quinacridone permanent magenta. The version, I think, from the Quin Rose from Mijello is a little bit more reddish, but we do have the PR 122 magenta, which is a, yeah, really luminous magenta pigment. Very, very good primary mixing color. Quinacridone violet, it's also PV19. So, and then there starts the confusion naming. That's my biggest minus point with Mijello is the name system they are having, because lots of colors they do have two versions of. Then it says, for example, cobalt blue and cobalt blue 2, number 2. One of them is a hue, one of them is the original. Normally you would assume that the number 1, or the one without the number, would be the original version. In this case, the original version is the number 2. It's the PB28. That's the genuine cobalt pigment. And that is something we do have tons of in Mijello. For example, cerulean blue. Normally cerulean blue would be either a PB35 or 36. That would be a genuine cerulean blue cobalt pigment. Here we do have a hue, PB15 column 3, which is your phthalo blue green shade. And normally those are mixed with white or watered down and stuff like that, so that it is a lighter blue. This one isn't. It is just your absolute basic standard phthalo blue, as dark as a phthalo blue can get. So it doesn't even look closely similar to a cerulean blue. Yeah, that's that was a I have a double this tube definitely double, because that was the first time I stumbled on this problem with the name system, is because that was the color I bought the wrong version of. I bought the cerulean blue because I assumed this is a cerulean blue, and I think the genuine cerulean blue is called cobalt cerulean blue or something like that. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, you have to be absolutely careful whenever you're having expensive pigments, like, for example, cobalts, cadmiums, viridian, stuff like that. You always have to double check which version contains the pigment you want to have, or otherwise you end up getting the version you don't want to have, like me. I mean, it's a basic phthalo blue. It's a color I use a lot, so it is not that problematic. But anyways, I was really mad, because that meant I had to order again somewhere in the future to get the color I want to have. So then we do have a phthalo cyanine blue. I am happy that it is a PB15 column 6, so it is, I think that's the red shade. It's a different shade than the cerulean blue. It would be absolutely rubbish if they would have put into similar versions. I think the 15 columns 6 is the version that looks a little bit closer to an ultramarine blue. So yeah, there's definitely, like I said, a shade difference normally in those two. Then we have an ultramarine light, of course, PB29. So then, and that's even more confusing, because this cobalt turquoise says cobalt turquoise hue. Hue normally means that it is a lookalike color that imitates the original pigment. But you can already see it's a series E. So it's a very expensive series. And the reason is it is not a hue. It is a PB28. PB28 is your standard cobalt blue that also makes a cobalt turquoise. Some brands use it as their cobalt turquoise. Some use PG50 for their cobalt turquoise. The PB28 versions normally are a little bit more bluish, where the PG50 versions are normally a little bit more greenish, with the exception of the Schminke version, which is more bluish. So yeah, it says hue, it is not a hue. Honestly, why the hell, Mijello? I can't understand it. It is utterly confusing, even for people who do have a lot of experience. But it is even more terrible and confusing for all the people who are starting out with watercolors and starting out with taking a look at what means to buy a hue, what means what pigments are the genuine versions. This is terrible. What in the department of naming. So the viridian is also not a genuine version. It is a PG7, so that's a hue. Here we are missing the word hue. it would be so much easier if they would just have gone with the naming like cobalt blue hue, cerulean blue hue, and not to do the original version labeling as a hue either. So yeah, that's really, really terrible. The bamboo green is phthalo green yellow shade. So we have the blue shade and the yellow shade. I do know that the blue shade is a pigment that tons of people always say they hate because it's looking very artificial. But to be honest, I think it is a very underrated pigment. It is an absolute awesome mixing color. If you're mixing it with burnt sienna, burnt umber, or some kind of oranges, you will get beautiful looking, natural looking greens. And the mix here with PG7 and burnt sienna is one of my favorite mixes for leaves, for example. Then we have a cobalt green deep. Here we don't have a number, we don't have a hue. It is the genuine pigment, it's the PB36. So the pigment that also makes cerulean blues, makes also this dark green colors. And I do have, I think, a similar dark color from another brand, which looks also very, very beautiful. Those granulate also very strongly. So I said I haven't swatched that so far. I will definitely make a review video where we will swatch them all. Then another different confusing naming is the naming green gold. Normally green gold is the pigment PY129. But here we have nickel azo yellow, which is PY150. I mean, I absolutely love that they included it because in department of single pigment colors, this is my most favorite yellow of all time. So I'm super happy they have included it here, but the naming is just terrible because when I read green gold, I think of a greenish looking yellow like the PY129, which is normally used as a green gold. That's the green gold pigment. So yeah, another confusing naming system. Then we have yellow ochre number 2. It's a PY42, so the synthetic yellow iron oxide. There is another one. Of course, with cheap pigments like iron oxide pigments, I'm pretty sure they haven't used any other colors to imitate it, but I think the other version is a mixed one with containing some yellow that I think is not so good in light fastness, like a PY3 or PY83, something like that, if I'm not completely mistaken. So yeah, also burnt sienna number 2. So there are 2 different versions. I do know I have used up the version I have in my other set nearly completely off, I think now it is completely used up. Yeah, I've opened the tube already. I'm not sure if it was the number 1 or number 2. I know it was also a red iron oxide, a transparent version, but I think it was a PR101, and maybe the other version is also a mix. I think it just was called burnt sienna. The number 2 is a PR102, which is honestly super rare as a burnt sienna. I think I've never seen another brand using it. Normally it's either PBR7 or PR101. The PR102 is the natural version of the red iron oxide, and normally those are more opaque. So I'm not sure how opaque this version is in comparison to your standard transparent red iron oxide burnt sienna versions made with PR101. That's definitely something I will want to find out soon. Then we have red brown, which is a PBR25, which is an absolute awesome, beautiful red brown. I do have this from many brands. If you have seen my the tube collection video from my brown tubes, then you have seen that definitely already. And then we do have the Van Dyke brown, and I know that this one was in my other set as well, and that I absolutely fell in love with this version because normally Van Dyke brown, the genuine version, would be NBR8. N for natural pigment. There are definitely brands that still offer it, like Shinhan PWC. The NBR8 version. There is a big problem with that because a lot of brands brand it as perfect in light fastness. The NBR8 is not very good in light fastness. It will definitely fade. There are a lot of people who have tested it over the years. They are always fading. There is a big confusion with the pigment brown 8, which is a manganese brown and is very, very light fast. So I don't know where this started, but brands started to stumble over these two and thinking of a pigment brown 8, always thought of the manganese brown and the perfect light fastness it had, and therefore the NBR8 often gets labeled as very good in light fastness, which is definitely not, like light fastness tests done by individual artists have shown. So that is something just to know. Because I know I've got a lot of comments in videos where I said the NBR8 is not good in light fastness, that they say, but I have a brand that says 5 out of 5 stars or excellent in light fastness. Yes, brands do print that on their tubes, but it is not true. I have never seen any version of NBR8, of the genuine Van Dyke Brown, that not fades over time. So the pigment just isn't light fast. The version we are having here is made with a PBR7, so our natural brown iron oxide, and we have a very dark version of a PBR7, and it's a very, very beautiful color, and because it's a perfect light fast single pigment color of the Van Dyke Brown, I do love it, because like with many natural pigments that are not very light fast and therefore swatched with alternatives nowadays, like for example indigo, Payne's gray, not a natural pigment but also a mixture with where the original pigments aren't very light fast, or madder red, the genuine or rose madder, I mean the genuine versions, sepia for example. Every brand do their own creation. Every brand, if you buy 10 different brands, you will get 10 different pigment combinations for the colors. And having a single pigment version with those colors is super rare. There are not many brands offering single pigment versions of colors like that. So yeah, the Mugello version I do like very much. I definitely always wanted to buy another tube when my small one is empty, so happy to have it in this collection. Like I said, I haven't swatched it so far. I know the quality of the brand, and like I said, as a single pigment set is always something very interesting in my opinion, because it's super for mixing. You will see single pigment sets in my pan collections from Rosa Gallery, for example, and I do love them very much. So yeah, I think that is an awesome set that to have in your collection or to give to someone, a befriended artist or so, especially if you can buy it on sale like I did. So yeah, there's that. Now let's go on with other sets, starting with the Kiao Mei watercolor set. I will keep this one very short because you will find a complete review to this set in my review playlist. I have the pan set. I've bought it because at that time you couldn't get the tube sets in Germany. As you can see, you can get now. I called this set lost pigment set because we have a lot of pigments in here that are being discontinued since many years. We do have in the sap green and in the hooker's green the genuine quinacridone gold PO49 as the mixing yellow. There, PO49. The tubes are 12 milliliters. Then we do have the Purple Lake, which is a PR 88. It's also a discontinued pigment. That's sadly not very light fast, but it's still beautiful. The Alizarin Crimson Hue has a PR 206. That's a quinacridone maroon, which was discontinued in 2022. And the only brand that offered the red version, because that's a pigment like the Perilyn Maroon that makes a red and a brown color. The brown color is the more standard color, which had many brands offering, but the only brand offering the red version was Winsor Newton Professional in their Alizarin Crimson permanent version. And as soon as I heard the pigment was being discontinued, I ordered a big tube of it and already got a new pigment in it. So they haven't had any stock, and therefore you couldn't get the red version anymore. So I'm super happy that you could get still the red version with this year. Sadly, you can't buy the tubes open stock. You will have to buy the whole set. That's a big minus point for me personally, because there are some colors that I really would have to love to buy as single tubes, especially the Gamboge Hue. The Gamboge Hue is an absolute stunning color. It looks so much like a quinacridone gold, like a PO49. I've seen in videos. I've never had the pleasure to use the genuine version, the yellow genuine versions of a PO49. It's a PY 153, and this is also a discontinued pigment. I do know that there is a mixed color from Schminke which contains PY 153, and there is, I think, the Sennelly yellow it's called, is also a single pigment PY 153. The big difference to the Porumen versions is they are all not completely transparent. They are this standard what every yellow pigment now is, from semi-transparent to opaque, and there's somewhat somewhere in that range. They are looking more like your standard lemon yellow colors, but this is a complete transparent color that gets very dark, like a nickel azo yellow or a quinacridone gold, tending towards orange brownish in mast tone, to golden yellows, to lemon yellows if you dilute it very strongly. So that's such a beautiful color. I'm totally in love with it. And yeah, it's also a very light fast pigment. So yeah, that was the biggest plus point in my opinion of the set, because yeah, especially because I never had the chance to get my hands on a PO49, the golden versions, gold yellow versions of this color. This is the closest probably I've ever got to that color. So yeah, definitely the quality of the paints is absolutely awesome. I think it is considered student grade, because we do have not expensive pigments like cobalts or cerulean. They are all hues in here, but it's still a very, very high quality, and I absolutely love it. Can highly recommend buying the sets. So another Porumen set I do have is this. I think that's the first generation. You still can buy these. The one with the zebra print is the newest, the 5th generation, called Yulan. And these are very, very old colors. And like I said, you still can buy them. They have some printing errors, like French ultramarine is called France ultramarine, something like that. These are 8 milliliter tubes, 48 colors. And yeah, I haven't used them so far because I have so much colors, so I have not really gone over them. But I do have from the same time pan sets. They haven't had any information about the pigments, but the tubes do have all the pigment information printed on, like here PV19. We have the light fastness and the opacity rating as well. So that's a big plus to the pen sets from that time. I can only say I personally do like Paul Rubens paints a lot. In my opinion, they are very good price per value deal. You get awesome paints, if it's the artist grade or the student grade paints, for a very, very affordable price in comparison to other brands. The quality is amazing. I have a lot of Paul Rubens sets with tubes as well as pan sets, because like I said, I really, really like the brand. I think they have an awesome quality, and like I said, the affordability in comparison to other brands is awesome. This set, Mei Liang, is also a student grade series from Paul Rubens. They have the Mei Liang set. They have different pen sets as well as this one tube set. And they have another student grade series that is called Coraline, which have always these light blue colors, the tube set as well as the pen sets. And the Mei Liang set, the first version of the Mei Liang set, I do have it. It is a set with 36 half pens, and to this day, in my opinion, it's the best price per value student grade set you can buy. When I've bought it, it was like 15 euros in Germany for 36 half pens. I do know that this is a newer generation, the tube set. They have changed a lot of the pigments to the better, because I think I've counted it for the German video. 30 colors of the 36 colors are light fast. In my original version, there were not any information about the pigments or the light fastness rated. We do have this here with the tubes, and with the newer pen sets as well, you get all the information. The old versions didn't have that, but Kimberly Crick did a light fast rating on that set, and there were at least more than half the colors were light fast. So definitely they have increased a lot of the light fast pigments. So we do also have a lot of the discontinued pigments in this set. We do have 3 colors that contains the PR206. It is magenta, deep magenta, and madder red. They are all PR206. We do have also the PR88, like in the other set, which is the not so light fast but discontinued pigment. We do have also the P049 in 2 green mixes, the Hugus green as well here as the tree green. And we do have, instead of the PY153, the beautiful golden yellow color, we do have a PB17, the turkey blue. Contains PB17, sadly mixed with a PW6. So it's not a pure pigmented PB7, but PB17 is also a discontinued pigment. It's a phthalo pigment, and it was considered a perfect cyan blue. This is a pigment that when the manganese blue, which also was considered a nearly perfect cyan blue, was discontinued, they all said then go and switch to PB17. And still to this day on a lot of pigment databases, it is listed as, yeah, sadly PB33 manganese blue is being discontinued. We oh gosh, I'm missing the word again. We recommend using PB17 instead, but PB17 was discontinued a few years after PB33, so it is very hard to get nowadays. There are still brands offering PB17. Like I said, we have it here in a mix, and we do see it later in another brand, which is not a mixed version. So it is not so easy to get. but it is a very, very beautiful color. And definitely something interesting for pigment nerds and collectors. So which colors aren't light fast? Just to go over them, we do have a P3 and the cadmium orange, so that's definitely not light fast. We do have the PR88, then we have a PV23 dioxazine violet in the two purple colors. Of course, the PV27 Prussian blue, that's a non-light fast pigment. Here we have PY3 in the green mix. We do have, where is it? PY83 in the olive green, so that's also non-light fast. And I think that's it. Like I said, it should be six colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm sorry, 7. But I still think that's a very low ratio for a student grade set. So that's really, really awesome. Definitely, in my opinion, Meliang is always a good choice for student grade colors, because you have a very good price per value ratio. And to be honest, Paul Rubens, if it is the artist grade range or any of their student grade brands, they are always on sale on Amazon and AliExpress on situations like Christmas, Easter sale, or Black Friday or so. You will always get amazing deals for those colors. So if that is something you are interested in, just take a look. I'm always sharing, for example, all these good offers of high quality paints in my Discord with my followers. Whenever things like Black Friday is, then I go through all the shops and take a look which offers there are. But like I said, Paul Rubens, it's always something you will find. So it's easy to get a good deal on those colors if you are patient enough. So now going to Schminke. I do have a lot of limited edition stuff from Schminke. So starting off with the Haze and the Urban set. I know since the beginning of 2024, the Haze and Urban colors are now integrated in the regular range of the super granulating watercolors. So now you could buy all the colors as individual tubes or pens without any problems. But many years ago, the Haze set was a limited edition set. And as you can see, mine is already used around half. So yeah, they are very old. And they done a limited edition of this a few years afterwards. There are some of the colors I do like. Some of them I think are not that awesome. If you're interested in that, in my How to Mix series, if you're looking up in the How to Mix playlist, I've done all the colors already. The Urban set was limited edition sets, I think around 2 years ago, something like that. And at the time also they did a redone the limited Haze set to the same time. I already had that, so I didn't buy it again, of course. Honestly, that was the one set where I was absolutely underwhelmed. There is like not even one color where really got my interest. Yeah, I will definitely do those in my How to Mix series, but yeah, if you look at them, I never put them in any of my pen sets or palettes. I have swatched them once, and since then I've never used them again. Really have to someday use them, but yeah, like I said, those were, in my opinion, very underwhelming. So then I have a few tubes that were also limited edition. The first one is the Cochineal Red, which is a whole year around limited edition from the Retro series from Schminke, which is produced until the end of 2024. That was the information we got. I do have a dedicated video to this in my pigment and color families playlist. You will find a video about the genuine carmine where this color is also swatched and compared to all the modern versions, as well as the complete history of the pigment itself, because this is a very old historical pigment made out of little bugs. And also you will find this in my Paint Spray video, because the genuine Paint Spray was made with that color. So I've recreated a genuine version of Paint Spray, also in the same playlist as you will find the Carmine video, where I compare the genuine version of Paint Spray with the modern versions, as well as the history of the color itself. So yeah, sadly this is a not light fast color, but it is an absolute stunning color. Yeah, you can buy them individually, or in some of the retro sets there's also this color included. I do have two of the pan sets, and I do have a video about the pan sets with a little review, and as well as the history of Schminke as a company and the retro series, information about how they made it and what were the reasons why they made it. All the information is in the video. I think it's in the review playlist if you are interested in that. Then I have the ice blue color that was also a limited edition many years ago. I think that was also done with an artist. Basically, it's just a phthalo blue version with white mixed to get a super, super light blue. As I said, I'm not into pastels that much anymore, so that is a color I barely used at all. And also, of course, it is very easily mixed yourself if you use a white and a phthalo blue. So yeah, with my knowledge nowadays, I wouldn't buy that one probably again. What I did buy a second tube when it was redone. This was a limited edition many years ago, and because it seems that the color is loved a lot, they done this limited edition, I think, around twice again. And I've bought a second tube because that's a color I absolutely fell in love with. Yes, I know you could easily mix it yourself, but I always say I'm mixing lazy, and if you do use special colors a lot, then it's totally fine with buying a tube version. The Ocean Grey by, and I absolutely have no clue how to spell it, Cesc Faré. Please, if you know how to spell this artist, let me know in the comments. Yeah, it is basically a 3-pigment mix between PB29, PG50, that's a cobalt green, and PBK6. So we have ultramarine black and a cobalt green. So it is a color that granulates and makes beautiful color separation effects. Absolutely love this one. And then I have the special edition Random Grey. Random Grey is a color that was done multiple times already by Schminke, but they always done it as an oil or maybe also as an acrylic, I'm not sure. But 2022 was the first time ever they done a Random Grey as a watercolor. So I did buy a tube and tested the color. It is a beautiful gray that separates and granulates into more bluish particles. you can't really recreate that, because random gray is always the color they make with the waste, the pigment waste. Like, for example, from the HEPA filters, they filter a lot of the pigments out of the air and collect it in the filter, and then they take this pigment out and make the random gray as well as other product waste they have. So you really can't recreate it completely like that, because you never know how much of what pigment is in it. That's why I thought, okay, I definitely have to get a second tube of that, because I absolutely love the color. It is granulating, it has some color separation effect. It's totally my cup of tea, and it looks absolutely amazing. So yeah, that's really, really an awesome color. I absolutely would love to hear if some of the colors you have and how do you like them. Do you say, yes, it was definitely worth my money, or are you afterwards saying, oh, gosh, I would love to have not bought the color? So yeah, those are these. And then I have one more Schminke tube set. And this is this limited edition wooden box. Probably never will buy one of these wooden boxes again, because they are so expensive. But this was a gift I got to myself many years ago. There is a German, it's the biggest art shop in Europe, called Gerstecker, and this was a collaboration between Gerstecker and Schminke to their 140th company birthday. So you have a certificate saying that it is a limited anniversary edition of the Schminke Horadam Super Granulating Watercolors in a wooden box to, like I said, the 140th birthday of the Schminke company. And it was limited to 140. There are only 140 sets made of this set. I have number 104 of 140. And there you have the copied sign from the Gerstecker company, the Michael Gerstecker and Niels Knappe, which is head of the Schminke brand. Or one of them. I'm not quite sure. I think there's more than one. I'm honestly not sure. So there we have a swatch card which contains way more swatching fields than colors are in the set. We do have this absolutely beautiful porcelain palette, and you get this porcelain palette sadly only with those wooden box sets Schminke made, because I would absolutely love to have a second one of these. I think those are normally meant to put some of your tube paints in, but as I don't do that to mixing plates like that, I would not probably use them as just normally mixing areas when I don't need a lot of color, and those for more, if you need more color, they are like not straight. They are deeper on this side, so it will always, the color will always flow towards this area, and it is super thin as well. And yeah, I think that's a really good mixing plate. I just can't get myself to use it because I'm so afraid of breaking it. I've never broken one of my palettes, but I'm super afraid to breaking this one just because you can't just buy them individually. I would absolutely love if Schminke would produce them standardly and you would be able to buy them like that. So what do we have in here? Some of the colors sadly I already had bought before I've got the set, so there are some doubles. We do have Glacier Green, that is one of the doubles I have, which I wasn't mad because I absolutely love the color and use it a lot, so that's not such a problem. As well as the Galaxy Pink and the Tundra Violet, those are colors I use a lot. The Glacier Turquoise and the Deep Sea Green are also colors I already had. Those I could have gone without a second tube, but nevertheless, it is what it is. Then there is Glacier Brown, which I hadn't had. All of these I didn't had before. The Deep Sea Black. I didn't have any of the forest colors, and here are 4 of 5 forest colors. We have Forest Blue, Forest Olive, Forest Brown, Forest Gray, and the Galaxy Brown. So these are all the colors that were included in the set. And yeah, when I bought it, because Gerstecker is one of the shops I buy the most of my art stuff, I normally always get in the end of the year a coupon for, I think, like 30 euros or something like that. And that was where I invested mine a few years back. I think that's, oh gosh, it's around already like 5 years or something like that. Honestly, I would have to look up how old Schminke is nowadays to really know how old the set is. But yeah, like at least 3 or 4 years, it must be something like that, I think. So, okay, that were all the Schminke stuff I do have. Then I do have this set, Winsor & Newton Professional Revival Collection Tube Set. I do have a review video on my channel in the review playlist. So if you're interested in that, you can look it up there. That was a set I honestly was very disappointed with. It is a set that has historical colors, and I hoped really that they include some historical pigments in it, but they are all hues. You could easily recreate them yourself. Many of those are honestly not really interesting. The only 2 colors that I do like is the Ultramarine Ash, which is not a genuine Ultramarine Ash. It's just a lookalike, like I said, and the Mineral Gray. Those have a little bit of granulation and color separation effect going on. All the other colors were honestly not very interesting. I mean, I do understand that colors like a Tyrian purple, you can't use the genuine pigment because it's the most expensive pigment ever. But yeah, I would absolutely have to see at least some special pigments in a set like that. So yeah, if you want a full review and swatching, do look at the review video. So then also I have review videos to all of these. These are from the Supervision brand. Like many of you know, the Pantone Color Institute every year releases a color of the year, and since 2022 at least I know that Supervision makes these color of the year special limited edition. You can still buy them, by the way. I think I have a link in the description box of the review videos to AliExpress, if I'm not mistaken, sorry. And you always have the color itself, and then a cooler and a warmer version with glitter. So we have Very Perry, Vima Magenta, and that is called Peach Fuzz. They've done a printing error. It's not use, it's Fuzz with an F. So yeah, if you're interested in seeing how these colors look and information about the pigments or the sets itself, like I said, there are review videos about those. Then I've bought this big set of Supervision some years back, also on a big sale, and I think honestly this here was the main selling point for me. I've never touched the colors so far, so definitely have to do a complete review and swatching video when soon. But this is not with white mixed PB17. So we have the discontinued PB17. And at the point where I've bought this set, I didn't know that old versions from Supervision with a 15 milliliter tube instead of these, what are they, 8 milliliters, I think, are still available to buy individually. So yeah, the thing with Supervision is they do have some very interesting colors, but they use a lot of non-light fast pigments and they have a lot of white mixes, so a lot of pastels. So if light fastness is important, then you really have to be careful with Supervision. And if you're not into pastels, you also have to look carefully which sets you're buying. It's probably best to go for individual tubes if they are available wherever you live. Or if you really have a very good offer like I on this set, where it is super cheap, then that's of course also something you can do. But like I said, you always have to consider that those are contain pigments that aren't light fast. So depending on how important that is to you, like I said, for example, here you have C pigments like PR31, which you not see in any other brand because pigments like that are normally not used. That are pigments you see a lot in cheaper brands. So also we see those a lot in the Supervision brand. I do have some other sets as well. If you have seen my other tube collection sets, the one with the special effect colors, then you have seen the first edition or first version of their layered watercolor, which were an absolute nightmare because they are pigment dye based mixes and the dye was fading or changing completely within the closed tube. So that is absolutely highly recommended. Not ever buy those colors, ever. A few years after that, they've released this second version or generation of layered watercolors, their super granulating version. And those are in 15 milliliter tubes. You can still buy them as a set or individually. And they are only pigment based, so there's no dye in there. And of course, in most cases, you can just mix those yourself. There are sadly still a lot of not so light fast pigments used, but there are some colors that you can't easily recreate, like this purple brown here, for example. I think that was, yeah, because one of the pigments used is jasper, and jasper is not really, that's a gem, and I don't have I don't think there's any brand offering a single pigment jasper watercolor, at least not that I know. So if you know one, please let me know. But of course, that is something that's then not so easily recreated. Depending on how the pigment looks on itself, maybe there are colors that or pigments that granulates that look similar, but yeah, I've never really looked a lot into that. So some of those colors are made with the jasper. Still, they are very beautiful. Like I said, sadly some pigments aren't light fast, but yeah, still very beautiful colors, and definitely some I do like. And I must say, what definitely is exceptional good with Supervision, in my opinion, is their boxing. They first have always very beautiful designs. The cardboards are super thick and sturdy, And what I absolutely love is these foam inlay that you have where the tubes are rested in. It doesn't matter if it's this one, the big one, which is seen just now, or for example, those small limited edition sets. We always have these foam things the tubes are rested in, and I've never had any damages with the tubes. They are so securely and protected within these. That's really, really awesome. I wish other brands would do something similar instead of just putting it in a cardboard, where sometimes I had in the past damaged tubes arrive at my place if the shops don't protect it within the package very well. So yeah, that's really something I do like, because it's very, very securely, and that's the reason why I won't put those out of the box into one of my boxes where all my tubes are in, because it can't get safer than that. So yeah, that's the layered watercolor. And then I have the 4 special effects color sets as well. You still can buy these. I think one of the sets is super hard to get nowadays. At least the last time I've looked up, I've only always found 3, but you still can buy the tubes sometimes individually as well, and you find a lot of sellers on AliExpress selling those small sets with either quarter pans or smaller pans than that, which they've filled with these. So if you see a picture of this and a very cheap price, do look at the size, because it's nearly always that they sell these self-filled pan sets. So yeah, those are a mix of normal pigment and mica. They are called rock mica layered watercolor. Except for this set, it's rock mica and chameleon watercolor. So we have some of the colors with a flip-floppy effect. So these are, like I said, a normal color. Like for example, you get green color and then a violet mica glitter combined with it. So you have two different colors. One is the glitter and one is the normal color. Like for example, you would say you would mix a PG7 phthalo green with a purple mica, or blue with a gold mica, something like that. So these are colors like that, and I think in this set we do have some colors which are only mica, I think like interference colors, which are meant to be used as a standard interference colors are, or as a mixing color to mix your own versions. And I know I've read a lot of comments totally being disappointed about the set because some of the colors are nearly invisible. But like I said, those are interference colors. Those are best done when doing on dark surfaces because they're nearly invisible on lighter surfaces. That's a common mistake I often see with interference colors, that people are being disappointed because they are so light. This is always the reason why I say every glittery metallic-y color you have, always swatch and light and dark surface, because a lot of those colors look completely different on a dark surface. And yeah, also, like I said, those are integrated in this set because they are meant to be used as mixing colors to create your own versions of that. So the names are Flower Fire, Ocean Paradise, Mermaid Coast, and The Gift of Whale. And I have them very highly on my list to do individual review videos for those, because those and the second edition were already asked a few times by viewers. So there will be very soon on my list. And those are, I think, 8 milliliter tubes. I just need to open. That's the only thing I don't like, is that they don't have these little, half hole on that you can get it up more easily. It's always very hard to open. Yeah, I think those are, yeah, 8 milliliter tubes. So yeah, but they are absolutely stunning. I love them. But still, like I said, supervision, not all of them are light fast. That's always to keep in mind. So, Kusakabe, Japanese brand. I have those set called Harmonia and Harmonia Plus. That's their super granulating watercolor series. I do have a review video to each of those sets, so I will not take a deeper look into it. If you are interested in how they are looking, what pigments they've used, how the mixes are looking, how the light fastness is, take a look at the review videos. I have those two from the brand, and then I have the 3 single pigment sets, which I also have a review video to each of the sets. The first set is the staining set, which contains staining colors that are, I think, all not very good in light fastness, but there are some very rare pigments in the set. So if there are other pigment nerds and pigment collectors, there are definitely in the single pigment sets a lot of super rare pigments. The warm set is completely granulating colors. We do have some different versions of the Potter's Pink. We have a yellow, we have a brown, and we have this Chrome Orchid, which is a pigment I've never seen in any other brand ever before. And then we have the Cool set, which is also a granulating set, which has even more unique colors. We do have the Zirconium Blue, which is a color I have only seen ever by handmade artisans, never by an industrial brand offering it, and never before in a tube. Love the color. And then we have these 3 colors here, which are also very unique. The Antimony Gray and the Cobalt Nickel Gray Light and Cobalt Nickel Gray. These 2 are the same pigment, just in a lighter and a darker version. And the funny thing, it's a cobalt pigment I've never heard before. I've never stumbled across this pigment in my cobalt research, so I was super surprised to find another cobalt pigment. It's very, very beautiful. I do love them, and I absolutely fell in love with the Antimony Gray. So these 3 here I've never seen in any other brand before. So we have a lot of very unique colors. You can buy them as sets, all of them. You can buy them individually. In the review videos, I do have link to the seller on AliExpress where I've bought mine and where you can buy the whole sets or the tubes individually. Yeah, I've bought a second tube of the Antimony Gray because like I said, I fell totally in love with the color. This bluish gray color, granulating color, is absolutely beautiful. And like I said, as I have never seen it before, and it is always with AliExpress sellers, it's always the problem that you never know how long those shops really offer the stuff. Because I've seen regular color that the companies still produce just being sold like for a year on AliExpress, and then it vanished and you couldn't buy it anymore. And at least in Germany, you have no German shop offering colors from Kusakabe. I know in other countries it will be much easier to get to the colors, where you don't have to fear that someday you are not be able to buy them anymore. But here in Germany, it's very problematic. So that's the reason why I said, okay, I've now buy a second tube just to be sure that I have the color a little bit of a backup whenever the case occurs that I can't buy it anymore in Germany. So the last one is this set from Rembrandt. And I do also have a complete review video of this, so I will just go over it a very short time. This is the special effects set, and it contains 4 interference colors in 10 milliliter tubes. Of course, you can all buy them individually And the set also exists as a pen set. I highly recommend, if you want to buy the set, buy the tube set, because it's just a little bit more expensive than the pen set. And you have like 10 milliliters in comparison to half pens with 1.5 milliliters. So that's definitely the better price. And I've bought it on Gerstecker in the beginning of the year. That's why I did the review video then immediately, because it was on a 50% off. So I've bought it for 50 euros instead of 100 euros. That was just an awesome deal. It comes with a pure red sable brush, size 6. So that's for me personally, a very good size, which I can use. Often you have bigger brushes and sets which I barely can use at all. So yeah, then we do have 4 how they are called, sparkle colors, and we have 4 chameleon colors. And those 4, gosh, I do love them so damn bad. Normally, like these interference colors, all interference, glitter, metallics, whatever, everything what shines and glitters is normally made out of mica. But the sparkle and the chameleon colors are made out of glass. These are superfine glass particles that sparkle and glitters very, very much. The sparkle colors are a little bit more muted. They're still glittery and sparkly, but nothing in comparison to the chameleon colors, which depending on how the light falls onto the page, of course, we have like 3 different colors. They can sparkle in each of the colors. These, if you are into glitter, at least the 4 chameleon colors are an absolute super duper over the top recommendation from my opinion. There is no other brand offering anything similar. I've never seen another brand using glass particles for watercolors or for other colors. That's something super unique, and also something I've never seen that you could buy like yourself to make your own colors, because you could easily buy mica powder in every shade you ever can imagine, but I've never seen anywhere such glass particles to be offered. So that is definitely something super unique and super special. And like I said, if you are into glitter, that is definitely the biggest recommendation I can give for glitters. You can do it a very thick, of course, but you also can water it down and just put it over your painting and giving that area a super glittery effect. Like, for example, if you want to have glitter on fairy wings. And the good thing with watercolors is, in comparison to like glitter glue or acrylics or I guess probably something like a Mod Podge, or at least from when I see finished pages video, those are all leaving a very thick layer, and depending on how you apply it, you have areas that have more are higher than other, because like with for example a glitter glue, it's hard to apply it to be completely even. So you will always have areas that have a more amount and a less amount. Those colors, like it is with watercolors, you won't get any of those problems. You just have a nice, even, clean wash. It doesn't make the page thicker. It doesn't make the page sticky. You don't have to be afraid that the page sticks to the next page. So yeah, definitely a super high recommendation. And if you just say you buy the 4 colors, I would personally recommend buying the tubes individually as the big tubes in 20 milliliter tubes, because that's the best milliliter price per value you will get for those colors. Like I said, watch the video if you are interested in how they look. And just imagine that in reality they are much more glittery and sparkly than any camera can catch. There's definitely, even the best cameras will struggle with something like that. So yeah, those are all my tubes. That was the last tube collection video. Like I said, next video we will be starting with my pan sets. I have like 2 boxes and 2 drawers full of either self-filled palettes or bought pen sets. So yeah, we will go box 1, box 2, drawer 1, drawer 2, and then we have finally all my watercolors. Yeah, I know it's tons of watercolors, but like I said in the past, please keep in mind, I'm not someone with a super big bank account, but I've collected watercolors for 30 years now. So I had a lot of time to collect watercolors, and yeah, like the Kiao Mei set, for example, that was a gift from my husband to my birthday last year. A lot of those were bought from gifted money or gifted by family members over the years to Christmas or birthday or something like that. So yeah, it is a collection that grew over a long, long time. That is definitely something to keep in mind. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I would absolutely love to hear if some of the sets you have or would be interested in, if you have them, how your personal opinion or experiences are with the brand, with the set, with the colors in the set, with the quality of the paints, and so on. And yeah, like always, a thumbs up or a follow is very much appreciated because it really helps me in the channel. So thanks a lot for that, and I really hope you have an absolute wonderful day and to see you soon in one of my other videos. Thank you so much for watching this long video. Take care, and yeah, bye bye. See you next.